We are now going to hear some reflections on what we've just heard and also what's next. And this evening, we're going to hear from Monica Guzman. And Monica is a Seattle based journalist who lives for good conversation sparked by challenging questions. So, she's our kind of person. A lot of you probably know her from our podcasts and some of our other media. She is the co-founder of The Evergrey, a former columnist at the Seattle Times, a recent fellow at Harvard's Nieman Foundation for Journalism and the Henry M. Jackson Foundation, an immigrant and dual US-Mexico citizen, and the mom of 2 bilingual kiddos. Also, she's presently working on a book due in 2022 about how to build bridges in dangerously divided times. Monica, share with us what's on your heart.
Whew. Well, first off, it's hard for me to express how grateful I am to be among all of you. I discovered Braver Angels it's a blur, a year and a half, something ago. But ever since I've been so happy and felt so much less alone in an effort to try to look where many others don't for solutions, creativity, reconciliation, walking into spaces that some folks have given up on, dark spaces that, sometimes we're afraid we're falling into. And this is a group that gives me so much hope. So to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from, I'm going to tell you a story about how I watched the election results yesterday. So several days ago, my parents were over for dinner, and I asked them if they wouldn't mind if I came over their house to watch the election results with them. And they sort of raised their eyebrows a bit. We have a really great relationship. It's surprisingly great, I guess, because they are red and voted for Trump, and I am blue and voted for Biden. But they said, yeah, sure, come on over. And so driving over there yesterday, I thought in the car, like, wait, what exactly am I thinking here? It can be fun to just be around your side and be around your people, in an election. Although, of course, these days elections are less fun and certainly more heavy. And so what exactly am I seeking by coming over and spending the day with my parents? I thought about the milestone that my family is celebrating this year. We've been American citizens for 20 years. I went to my parents' naturalization ceremonies in the year 2000, and pretty much immediately my parents became Republicans. I remember that their politics were a bit of a shock to me and my brother. I was 17 at the time, but I think our politics were a bit of a shock to them. A few years later, we went to the movies. We always went to the movies, and we watched Michael Moore's Fahrenheit 9/11. And the conversation on the way back in the car, oh boy, like I still have it. Just my dad and my brother, me, and whoa, this thunderstorm, and it was just crazy. So yesterday, when I'm over there, we went at it. How do you not? I was, eating Mom's delicious pork chili tacos, and we butted heads on immigration, on what it takes to help the disadvantaged, on when folks on CNN or Fox were showing bias or when they were just being good reporters, on abortion, which is the key issue for my mother through and through, on which we've had some really amazing conversations over the years, on what it means to be a strong leader, which me and my dad will never agree on. I took a walk with my dad at one point. He loves to take photos of birds. It's his big hobby. And he told me that one day not long ago, he was out on the trail and he ran into a photographer that he admires on Instagram. And they start talking, and this photographer says something really disparaging about Trump. And he probably assumed that my dad didn't like Trump. He's an immigrant with a Mexican accent in the Seattle area. But of course, that wasn't true. And my dad told me, sadly, that he played along. He kind of nodded and let that assumption stand. And when he finished telling me that story, he said, I've heard that some couples don't let their parents see their grandkids. And I've wondered if that'll ever happen to us. Now I have 2 kids, and they hang out with their grandparents all the time. And so my response came before I could even think. And I told them, jamás, never, Dad. That's never going to happen. That is never going to happen. So after one of our political collisions last night, when I realized that my argument was not all I thought it was cracked up to be, and their argument wasn't all they thought it was cracked up to be, I sat there with the ice cream that Dad had served me. I think it was butter pecan. And Mom was pouring these sangrias that she was mixing. And they said that they were really happy I was there. And I told them what I had come to realize, which is that that was absolutely the best place that I could be, was with them. And I don't want to dismiss the differences here. They're big. We all know that. We know how big they are. I was getting texts from many of my friends, just, the emotions, the absolute devastation. They're big, the issues that divide us. They matter a lot. They matter to us as individuals and our communities and to the whole country, the choices we make, how we go forward. I get signals that I'm supposed to dismiss my parents because they are on the other side of a huge divide, and I can't do it. I won't. I never will. I was with my parents yesterday because what we are doing as Americans, as people, to make a society together, there must be more to it than that. There must be more to it than hatred and suspicion. There must be more to it than that. I'm a braver angel because I know there's more to it than that. When there's pressure to sever ties, to break bridges, to stop listening, to sit and stew and vilify half the country, we know there's more to it than that. There's more to it than the arguments, the opinions, the way we butt heads, how we fear each other, neighbors, relatives. We're here because we know that the truth that matters isn't just in the news we happen to read, in the stories that we hold and release, and the signals we send. We know that it's in each other. So sometimes I look back and I see two dials. One dial is the stories we tell and yell, right? Like about our world, the Facebook posts, in the big rooms and the small rooms and the silos, the articles and the posts with all their certainties, all the signals we send out, like here's who I am and what I believe. Are you with me or are you against me? And that second dial is to me like us, but like the genuine us, the one who's walked a unique path to get here with unique experiences and values that chart our course. The ones you can get to know if you ask and say hi. Both dials are important, but I wonder sometimes if they're set to the wrong volumes. Maybe we can turn the first one down and turn the second one up. So I think we're here as braver angels and as Americans because we can't give up on our ability to surprise each other, to get creative, to see that there's a problem that is enormous in our country, and to have the audacity to think that we can actually solve it together. People say that what we're doing is impossible, that it's not worth it, that you're betraying one side or another. I'll admit I'm shy sometimes to say that I'm involved with Braver Angels to some of my blue friends because I'm afraid they'll think that I've abandoned something, that I've abandoned my values. But there it is again, fear, right? Like I don't want to be motivated by fear. I'm not abandoning my values. I'm embracing them. I don't believe that we can, I think that if we cannot be honest together, we're not truly together. And if we're not truly together, how can we hope to build the society that we deserve? So maybe some of you have felt like me that this is kind of a lonely path, that you're supposed to pick a side and dig your trench, pick your enemy and want nothing to do with them, be certain about them, be certain you don't have to wonder about them because you already know what's in their hearts and what it means. But this is not a lonely way, y'all. I really mean that. Look around, it's like April said, we're here. We're sharing a space and a commitment. We know this is important. And we know what everybody knows and what everybody senses, that the disconnection is not forever, that the dilemmas are not hopeless. We're an amazing community in an amazing country that dares to do this work. And I cannot be more excited to be here with y'all and to be excited and encouraged by what's coming up. And I want to echo what Carlos just said. Come scared, all right, people are scared, cool. Let's work with that. It was a huge motivator, this election. It brought people out. It brought people's passions out, right? What are we really afraid of? We're afraid of a world we don't feel we belong in. We're afraid of a world that doesn't work. that feels like it's got the wrong things at its heart. But we have really good things in our hearts, right? And if we pour those out, we're going to be fine. So this is the space where I feel that with the most confidence of any other space. And I just can't thank y'all enough for being here. And yeah, we're going to do awesome things, and we're already doing awesome things. So thanks.
Thank you, Monica. Thank you. So many jazz hands.